Again, thanks for stopping by here at Ask the Chimney Sweep. My name is Clay Lamb. I'm with my friend Jeremy Biswell. Jeremy, we got 3 questions for you today.
I'll do my best.
You're ready. Okay, we want to talk about animal problems, odor problems, and smoking problems. Tell our company what's out there.
So basically on animal problems, when your chimney isn't properly protected or covered up on top, you're going to have your chimney stack going up, and then you've got typically a flue tile or something sticking out the top, and then you've got this hole. Having that hole up there, that's where the smoke passes through, and it's kind of like, if it isn't covered properly, it's kind of like having a hole in your roof. Everything's going to get in: water, debris, and animals. Animals love chimneys.
What kind of animals?
Well, you've got your raccoons that love it. It's nice and warm down there. You've got squirrels. Squirrels are a huge one I see in my area in Kansas City. And then you have these specialty little birds that people will typically mistake for barn swallows. They're not. They're a federally protected bird called a chimney swift. And they're a unique little bird that uses its saliva to basically build a nest that will hang on the side of a chimney flue. And you'll see them out flying around. They almost look like flying cigars, and they've got a very distinct wing pattern, and they flap around real good. They're excellent for the environment. They eat a lot of mosquitoes, kind of like bats. And bats are another animal too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And bats are great. But anyway, so that's one thing that can happen if you don't have a properly covered and properly constructed or repaired chimney, because bats can climb right through little holes in your chimney. Okay. And any other place where they can squeeze almost flat. So
okay, we've got the animals out of the way. Let's go to the odor problems. What causes that chimney odor? It stinks up the house so bad.
So over the years, we walked into many houses, and you walk in, it smells like a barbecue house in there. And
we know who you were talking to out there.
And sometimes people don't notice it like we do. Yeah, and sometimes you got to walk out of the house and walk back in. And you mention something, and people go, I just don't notice it anymore. And I always tell people, well, it's kind of like living on a pig farm. Eventually, when you first get to the pig farm, if you've never lived on a pig farm, you go, God, it smells like a pig farm here. But you ask the people, and you go, I don't smell anything. So they've gotten used to it, but that's not good, because if you're smelling that, obviously there's some issues going on, and if you're breathing that, that's not good for your lungs. So what I found, and I've got a little bit different approach than most people, because the natural thought process is, well, there must be air getting drawn into the house. That is absolutely correct. So if I just shut it off, then plug the hole, kind of like the old Looney Tunes in the submarine. You plug the hole, and then magically, the water or the smell goes away. I haven't found that to be true. What I have found is that your chimney is like a big sponge. And the inside of your chimney is typically a little dirty, and you might have had some flue gas leakage to the inner cavity through bad, breachings in the mortar joints or what have you, or the smoke and creosote has soaked into the brick, because brick are like a sponge.
Yeah.
And so what happens then is once that soaks in and you get some water penetration, and the water gets in but it can't get out, it causes it to fester, and then you get mold spores and everything else, and then all that starts to smell. It smells musty.
Okay.
Well, it's coming out as barbecue stench, because it smells
like a barbecue.
Yeah, it smells like a barbecue. So that's one thing. Obviously, you wouldn't be smelling anything. You wouldn't be smelling the water entry issues or anything if you didn't have some sort of a backdraft problem, or a negative pressure problem is what we call it in the house. So people don't realize that when you open a window and you feel air coming in, that's not Mother Nature drawing that air in. It's the house drawing it in. There has to be a force, because if you open the window and you don't feel anything, that means everything's balanced inside and out. But if you go outside and you feel your air conditioning come out, that means your house is actually a little overpressurized, and it's pushing it out.
Let me ask you, let's talk back this now. Let's talk and finish out here on smoking problems. So we're talking about air pressure. Let's address that for the homeowner that has a smoking problem. It's rolling out into the living room, or it's going just fine. It starts to dwindle down on the fire, and all of a sudden it gets puffs of smoke coming out. What is that?
So basically what happens a lot with that, short of chimney construction issues, basically a lot of times that is a negative pressure problem in the house. And again, the house needs a certain amount of air. If you're in a bubble, there's only a certain amount of air in there. If you watch an old movie where they're stuck in a submarine or what have you, and there's only so much air, we got to get out of here. Sure. And then when they open the hatch, they breathe well. Well, during the winter when it's cold, you're not gonna be opening windows. You're gonna be closing windows, and so that space is only gonna have so much air. Well, it needs to have air change out.
Okay.
And when that happens, the easiest way is that huge 13-inch, typically by 13-inch hole in your roof called your chimney, and it's going to draw it right down there. It's going to take the path of least resistance. So again, going back to the Looney Tune thing, if you just cover up this here, which people will go in and seal around windows, man, I feel draft around the windows, so they'll get out their caulk gun and go, be the mad caulker and start caulking things and foaming things. So what they're doing is when you put your finger in that hole, it's going to start coming out over here. So the easiest place for it to come down is the chimney, and people don't realize that I just sealed up everything else in my house where it was actually leaking actively and well, and I just created a chimney problem. So then the chimney sweep gets called out.
Okay, we've got animals, odors, and smoking problems. These customers out there need some help. Where do they get it?
Well, if you one great resource is the National Chimney Sweep Guild. We've got a member association, and it's mostly a qualified member association with qualified individuals that are very interested in networking and education in the industry. We've also got a code of ethics that they have to stand by, and they've got insurance and everything, so that's good. So you can go there. That we've got ncsg.org, National Chimney Sweep Guild.org, ncsg.org, and they have a search bar in there, just like anything. You can search by zip code or city or state or what have you. And that'll at least narrow down that path of you finding a good person that fits what you need.
Well, folks, thanks for stopping by here at Ask the Chimney Sweep. This has been Jeremy Biswell and Clay Lamb. Thanks.